Worst case scenario, if a cop finds the phone, they don't lose the gold, they just lose the phone. It's a perfect prison currency.
America has about 4% of the world's total people and 25% of the entire world's prison population. As of this year, nearly 2.3 million people are currently behind bars in the US. Compare this to RuneScape's population of 276 million accounts created, with 150,000 people currently online right now. The two are bound to overlap a little bit. For the past 2 decades, this overlap didn't matter too much, as the only way to play RuneScape behind bars was with a computer, and the chances of that happening in most American prisons is unlikely at best. So, how did RuneScape Gold become one of prison's most popular up-and-coming currencies? You'll find out in just a moment. Today's video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, a turn-based RPG done just right. Chances are you've already heard about Raid, but it makes sense. Raid is one of the top 3 ranked RPGs on the Google Play Store, and it's just been nominated as a finalist for Google Play's Best of 2019 User's Choice Award. The game is growing insanely fast with 15 million downloads in the last 6 months. So what actually is Raid? It's a hero collection turn-based game with over 400 champions for you to collect and personally customize. And believe it or not, it's free to play. Raid has some other amazing features like new champions getting added to the game every single month. Right now they're adding 16 ones a month. As you progress through the game, you'll get tons of free champions, equipment, and other cool stuff just for learning how to play. Lastly, once you complete the missions I showed just a moment ago, you get one of the best legendary champions in the game, the Arbiter. Like I said earlier, the game is growing super fast, and they even have this cool roadmap that they've published to highlight update plans over the next few months. I've been extremely selective when it comes to sponsorships. Over my 3 years on YouTube, Raid is the only one I've ever taken. With all that said, go to the video description, click on the special links, and you'll get 50,000 silver and a free epic champion as part of the new player program to start your journey. So, how do I know RuneScape Gold is actually being used in prison, despite never actually being in one? This is where John comes in. He's served time in multiple prisons across the country over the past several years. I've disguised both his voice and name to protect his identity. So, first of all, tell me a little bit about who you are. What's your background?
I remember when I was a little kid, my parents had joint custody of me, and every weekend I'd go to my dad's house. And one weekend I went over there, and he was playing this game on the computer. I was watching him play, and it was RuneScape Classic. So I've been playing since pretty much the beginning.
You said when we were talking earlier that you found out about botting pretty soon after?
But from the beginning I was interested in botting. There was an early RuneScape plan called MX Lite, and it could allow you to log into more than one account. So I was logged in on like 8 accounts at the same time, like Fish and Lobsters with bot script, and then like I was compiling all the fish I fished onto one account and selling it for gold, and then selling the gold.
John's early interest in botting is not too surprising. Botting is the act of using a computer program to play the game for you. RuneScape is an extremely tedious game that can take years, even decades, to complete. So for many players, despite it being against the rules and heavily enforced, botting was the way to go.
Is it possible to give us any current bots banned figures from ModWeth? He's given us the numbers of 475,257 macroing offenses issued, and over 112 billion GP removed from gold selling accounts. 112 billion GP.
So why sell gold as a kid? What did you actually end up using it for?
When I was in middle school, I hurt my back. I remember the doctor prescribed me Norcos, which is Vicodin. The first one I ever took, it's like floating on clouds with like a warm, cozy blanket, and all your problems melt away in euphoria. And when I ran out, I started selling gold and buying more. I didn't have a legitimate source of income, so I bought it like 30 accounts at once.
RuneScape Gold has gone up and down over the years in terms of real-world value. Currently, 1 million gold equates to about 60 cents USD. That may sound like a lot of in-game cash, but the average player has access to methods that can earn them over 1 million gold an hour, And with just a few accounts set up on a bot script, they can be making over $20 an hour in their sleep. Keep in mind that botting is against the rules, and should someone be caught doing it, all of their accounts related to that account they were botting on will be banned as well. So it can be extremely risky for a player to do so.
As I got a little bit older and started meeting more people, not only was I taking more and more of the shit, but I was also, making more money in the game and thusly selling more money. One day I kind of came up with the idea that, what if I just bought a bunch of this stuff and started selling the drugs? That way I could just keep my gold. I was selling cocaine and Oxycontin. So I ended up getting in trouble for selling heroin. This one dude, he wanted to buy a whole bunch, a little over $10,000. So I went to meet him, but I didn't even bring the dope because I thought something was wrong. So I show up to meet this guy, broad daylight, and he tries to rob me, and he pulls a gun out, and he shoots at me a couple times, and luckily he didn't hit me, and just trying to get the fuck away. I pulled my gun out, shot at him a few times, hopped in my car, and drove the fuck away. So a bunch of people apparently saw this and called the cops, and somebody got my plates. U.S. Marshals came and got my ass. Raided my place, and they found heroin, scales, and gun. I go to court, and I get 4 years. The currency system is either books of stamps, food, drugs, or services. Where I was at, there was 3 guards that were smuggling in phones. Old School on mobile came out, and overnight, almost everybody in prison, having a higher demand for phones. Price of phones went up. There's better quality phones coming through. Didn't know why at first. I'm like, why do you people want to fucking play RuneScape? I mean, I get it. We're in fucking prison. I was told that, and it makes sense, with staking, it's straight 50-50 betting, and a lot of these people are gambling addicts or something like that anyway. One of the biggest pastimes in prison is poker, so I mean, gamble anyway. And this is, frankly, more fun than poker, and it's more fair than poker. Staking was, overnight, immensely popular. And there's the gold, it's worth real money, and these inmates would save up money, buy gold, have it on their account, stake it, and worst case scenario, if a cop finds their phone, they don't lose the gold, they just lose the phone. It's a perfect prison currency. I know people that are locked up with 50 bill that are feeding their family from staking in prison. The demand for things is so high, and the supply is so low because it's so difficult to get illicit things in there. People were spending 20 mil on a cigarette, 200 mil on a gram of weed. The incident to where the guards beat this king to death. They got revenge and they killed this guard. The inmates that killed him were paid with RuneScape gold.
Despite all the negatives just explained, it isn't all necessarily bad. There is some upsides.
Since a lot of these inmates that are playing RuneScape Mobile, they have a way to make money now, and all they want to do is, sit back and make this money. And because of that, they're getting in, less fights, less trouble, and because they're doing that, they're getting out sooner. They're getting their classification lowered, and so some crazy motherfucker that was in a level 3 yard like me starts acting right and gets sent to a level 1 or level 2 camp where there's actual computers. It's kind of fucking stupid and funny. There's gangs in prison, of course, and some of these gangs, like, they all have their characters dressed the same and shit. Like, big, tatted, scary motherfuckers. They don't have time to make their own account and start it from scratch. A lot of these people buy accounts. If you go to the duel arena, a lot you see bots spamming advertisements for renting stakers or even selling staking accounts. I've talked to some of the owners of some of these services, and I wouldn't say a big share of their clientele, but definitely a sizable piece of their clientele is inmate.
RuneScape may just be the ground zero for digital currencies becoming a key part of prison life. It seems as if they're just starting to update to the digital age.
I had been transferred to 3 other prisons, and everywhere I went, people were playing RuneScape Mobile. It's quite the epidemic. Like it's happening all over the United States, probably even all over the world. Like I have quite a few friends locked up all over the fucking place. Like people I met that got transferred, and they say it's the same. It's the same everywhere.